Hello. Long time no sit down and chat video. I wish it were for a more joyful reason, but to be honest, it's just enough is enough. I've had it with, gossiping or whatever. Gossip away. That's what humans do. I get it. But the harassing and the stalking, no. So yeah, that in a nutshell is what is happening. I'm going to take a step back today and give you a more clear picture. Here comes Winnie. Now that everybody's accounted for all of the two of us that you probably ever see on this channel ever again. No, I mean, for right now, though. All right, everybody's accounted for, everybody's settled. I gotta start again. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you know who I am and you've been here for a while, but just in case this is randomly the first video you choose to watch of mine, hello, I am Jen. I make videos on YouTube. I have for over 11 years now. And I started out talking primarily about organization, and I found that I loved the community so much, I started opening up more about myself and my life, and I started vlogging, and I even for a period of time did daily vlogs, and I used to always do Vlogmas and share Vlogtober and Vlogust and share my vacations and my family and when my children were born and my pregnancy journeys and all of that, and I loved it. I truly did. And I miss sharing in that way sometimes. But I don't miss opening myself up to so much scrutiny. Despite the scrutiny continuing with the lack of information that I'm providing, which is really unfortunate and the reason that I'm sitting down today to film this. The scrutiny continues, but what I share has changed. And I never really described this or shared in one place why I changed, and I've mentioned it a few times on Instagram, but it just felt like time to sit down and tell you. Give you a very clear snapshot from me. The only person you should trust for information when it comes to me or my life is me. Anybody else who says they know anything about me or my life is like 90% that's false information. The other 10%, they're really, really super creepy people who have dug through pretty illegally, actually. It's just hard to persecute in court with online people because it's hard to pinpoint them exactly, although it can be done. Pretty illegally dug up information that is private and not for sharing. So don't listen to those two people, because they're not telling you the things. Anything you want to know about me comes from me, okay? And I have shared a lot over the years, and I've had to change what I've shared. So let's go back to spring. I was already, if you've been following my content with some regularity, you could tell that I was already shifting gears away from what I'd been doing previously, which was a lot of home life stuff and kind of just like chit-chat stuff and face-to-face stuff, and I was already shifting into something different, and that was a natural shift that I felt. And over the course of these 11 years, I have felt my content shift from time to time, probably every few years, especially tied into major changes in my life. Having children, getting divorced, moving, like all of these things kind of that are huge life changes mean that I change too with them, and thus so does my content, because my content is a reflection of me. It's my creative output, so they're very closely linked, me and my content. So last spring, I'm not gonna go into detail about this because I just don't think it's worth bringing up or hashing out, but I have dealt with so much BS, to be PC, over the years, and it really started early on in my YouTube journey, probably like a couple years in, when I still didn't have a huge following, and I don't consider myself to have a huge following, and I'm actually very grateful for that. And people like to point out that my following is getting smaller. I don't know if it is. I don't really pay that much attention to that, but if it is fine. I'd rather people who are here actually want to be here because they enjoy my content rather than following along because they don't enjoy it, which makes no sense to me at all. I would never watch something that I didn't enjoy or choose to follow somebody that I didn't like. I don't know. So I've dealt with the gossip and the bullying and all of that over the years, and I get it's part of it. I think it's unfortunate that it has to be part of sharing, opening yourself up on the internet. I don't think it should have to be part of it, but I understand that it is, and it's fine. Like, I went through a lot of stuff with that, and I came out of that fire, and I was just like, it's fine. Brush it off. But it has, over the years, extended past that into actual stalking, like textbook stalking, actual harassment, and really creepy in-person life things that have required me to work with police and lawyers, and it's gross. It's gross. And so something happened over the spring. Again, I just don't feel the need to hash it out, but it was just the last straw. And I was already felt myself shifting, and I just cut off. I was like, nope, I need to cut off altogether. So I took a 3-month step back from the internet, and in that time, I spent all of that time considering if I wanted to come back, 1, 2, how I wanted to come back, and 3, how I could do that in a way that felt safe, or at least as safe as I could imagine being okay with. And the thing is, not only is this what I've done for 11 years, and I know it's still taboo for some reason that making videos online can be something that you do. God forbid I call it a career or work. I've learned that lesson. I don't call it those things, which again is BS, because it is absolutely those things. And just because you see a video doesn't mean it magically appeared. It requires thought and effort and time, and some skills. I'm not saying I have the best videographer out there. I don't consider myself a videographer or an artist or a photographer on any level with anybody else that I consider to be those things. But I do consider myself a creator, and I most identify as a documenter, documenting my experience and sharing it with you. And that's my passion. And why should I have to give up my passion, which also happens to be my work, because people can't help themselves in overstepping boundaries that they would not be okay with people overstepping if it were them or anybody they knew, like personally. They would not be okay with that. So in that 3 months I took off in my hiatus, I already knew I wanted to move towards travel content because I've been very interested in traveling, especially as a solo gal these days. And co-parenting, I do co-parent my children. So I have time where I am not at home with my kids. And I use that time to explore. Let there be no wiggle room, no mistake here. I would much, much rather be home with my kids 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And I would take them places too. And I do take them places, okay? It's been a pandemic. So let's all just calm down about me not taking the kids places, because I don't share with you everything or pretty much anything to do with them for the most part, aside from a couple glimpses, a snapshot of a day at the beach with them. not nearly anything that the lengths that people go to convince themselves that what I share on the internet is my entire life, when in fact you're seeing maybe 35 minutes of a 2 or 3 day trip that involves at least a minimum of 48 hours. So think of that, 30 minutes out of 48 hours is a very small percentage. And if I'm only posting one of those videos every other week, so every 2 weeks, that's a very tiny percentage of time that you're seeing of my life. And it is not anywhere near what I do all the time. It's not. That's not my whole life, is those 30 minutes. I mean, I didn't think I'd have to point that out to people, but apparently you do. And I understand when you watch people, especially real life people on the internet and not like scripted TV or whatever, it feels like you're getting the whole picture. You're not even getting a tiny fraction of the whole picture. And while what I do share is authentic and true and honest and me, it's not all. It's not even close to all. So please stop assuming that for me or for anybody else, and drawing assumptions from things that are not said and not meant to be assumed. Right, so let me backtrack. So what I landed on was, yes, pursue the travel content, and quite frankly, take the home and the family out of it. And that's been the basis of my content for 11 years, has been my home life. And so that was a huge shift, but I was heading in that direction, and it was kind of either that or nothing at all. And I knew in my heart I still feel called to share. And I don't question why, because that's not for me to know, that's for God to know. But I do trust my instincts there, that I am meant to be sharing if that's what I feel called to. And I still feel called to do it. It's just in a different way, and it's a way that for me, at least at this moment, feels safe. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm never ever going to show my home. You're seeing it right now. I'm never ever going to share any part of my home life ever again. I'm never ever going to share glimpses of my children. You saw them last week on Instagram. In fact, I've been sitting on a video I filmed with them in it, where I worked really hard to film them as indirectly as possible, which is, if you have small children and you ever film them, you know it's quite quite the endeavor, because they love being on camera. They love it. And I take so many, every day, home videos just for me of my children. So I don't post any of that. And I've done that since they were born. So much footage that you have never seen and will never see, but it's family videos, family home videos. So it's not like I'm not taking videos of them and they're gonna grow up thinking they weren't a part of my life. It's laughable, but it's also just so hurtful at the same time that people can assume that. So yeah, I came back. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to draw any more attention than I already seemed to get without asking for it in regards to my private life that I choose not to share and absolutely do not have to share. And it's absolutely nobody's right to dig up information on things that I don't share. I mean, can you just flip that around for a minute and consider if somebody was digging up information on you, for why? Like, if somebody really, really cared where you lived, even though that was a private address and private information, well, that's creepy. Like, I already shared that I live in the suburbs close to Chicago. That's common knowledge. I think that's interesting. It's interesting to know what part of the country people are from when you're watching them. You kind of establish that as part of their identity. I understand that place plays a part in identity. It doesn't mean you need to know my specific home address, especially when it's not public information. I worked very hard to keep my address private. Ask yourself why you need to know somebody's address when you're not invited to their house. Ask yourself why you need to know where somebody's children go to school when they've never shared that or hinted towards where they go to school. Not once. Just to illuminate just how frightening this can be, before I even breathed word about Charlotte starting school, somebody had found where she goes to school and like publicized it on a forum. Now, fortunately, whoever runs that forum is not a huge idiot and knew that exposing information about a minor on a public forum could potentially not only be extremely illegal, but also dangerous. But that doesn't stop those people from sharing that information privately in messages to people they don't know personally. And who knows who they're sharing that information to? They don't know. Ask yourself this: if you share private information about where my children live, where they go to school, or what you think their schedule is based on assumptions you've drawn very creepily from information I've shared that has nothing to do with their schedule, but you've drawn out, paid so close to attention to it that you've picked out what you believe is their schedule, so you know where they are at any given time of the day, and you're sharing that with random strangers on the internet, even people you think you know you don't know. Could you live with yourself if something happened to one of my children because you shared that information? Because it would be your fault. It's not information I've shared. I've never shared a picture or an image of my children at school. I've never shared one word about where they go to school. I've never shared about our custody agreement and parenting schedule. It's none of your business. That's creepy. When people stalk you when you're on vacation, no, this is why I can't share where I am when I'm there. Because how many years would we go on vacation and people would prank call the hotel and show up there and be creepy? And that's not okay. So yeah, I had to take a step back and reassess. And as much as I love sharing my home life and my life as a mom, and while I already was planning and had been sharing less and less of my children as they got older, which, by the way, people would assume that I favor my son because I showed him more in the last year or so on Instagram or whatever, or in my videos, than my daughter. She's 2 years older than him. I show her less and less as she gets older, and I've showed him less and less as he's gotten older, and it's been proportionate. I don't favor. If you are a mother, you don't pick a favorite. You don't have a favorite. It's not even possible. I can't even imagine picking a favorite child. It's not possible, because it's not. But the assumption that I favor my son because I showed him more when he was a toddler, and Cece was well out of toddlerhood, and I had already kind of been weaning off as much as I showed her. I had to step back and say, no, they really cannot be a constant or even occasional feature of my content. If they come up anytime, it might be a photo on a special occasion like Christmas or Mother's Day, but they can't be a part of my content if people are this creepy and intrusive, and I worry for my children's safety. Look, I don't want this to be like just a conversation where I am just really angry and disappointed and mortified and everything in between. That's the reason I stepped away. That's the reason I came back without saying anything, because I just wanted a clean start and to not, stir up any more unnecessary and intrusive prying. And that's where I stand now. I still, for whatever reason, through all of this, feel called to share, but I feel like the only way I can do that is outside of my home and outside of my family. So I've been doing that, and I've been really enjoying it. And so many of you see that. I see from the comments, which, by the way, are by approval only now. So any comment you see on any of my videos, I've approved. And I keep a very close eye on my Instagram comments as well. That's what I have control over. I don't have control over sites outside of my platforms that are my own accounts. Like, I don't have any control over those. I don't have any control over people who dig up stuff that they really shouldn't, or act in ways that are really, really inappropriate and not things you would expect normal, healthy people to do. So yeah, now I make travel videos or exploring videos for the most part outside of my home, because that's what feels safe to me right now. Again, I don't know how things will unfold, and I'm not going to pigeonhole myself and say I'm never going to do this and I'm never going to do that. I don't know. I never saw this coming. I never saw a lot of things coming, but I never saw this coming for sure. It was always my dream to travel and share more like that, but I thought it would be later on in life after my kids were grown. And life throws you curveballs, right? You just got to roll with it. But what I don't have to roll with is people being intrusive to the level of abusive. I don't. And my family and loved ones who are not public people online do not have to deal with that either. And so that's why I don't show other people in my videos. Don't assume there are no other people in my life because they're not in my videos. That is a choice. It is a conscious choice that I feel, quite frankly, my hand has been forced to make because I love my people and I want to protect them. And also, I am happy to share my own solo adventures, and I share them authentically, and I really do enjoy myself on them because that's who I am. I love doing that sort of stuff. But it doesn't mean I have no people in my life or choose not to. Right, so I don't want to come off as really defensive. I feel very attacked. I felt like I could have just let this all go, which I generally don't say things, right? Because I don't believe it's helpful. But I did feel like it was important, like I owed it to, quite frankly, the vast majority of you who are kind, loving, supportive people, not ill, but actual mentally healthy, stable people. And even if you don't agree with me or don't like some of my videos, you don't go like doing weird things about it. Yeah, I don't expect everybody to like me either, for sure. But I felt like I owed you an explanation. And just to be a little bit more transparent about this jump and why I made it and what to expect going forward. For the foreseeable future, I cannot tell you the indefinite trajectory because who knows, but for right now, I still plan to continue to post my solo travels because that's what I want to do right now and that's what I want to share right now. And it won't be much, if any, home stuff. You won't be seeing my family, you won't be really hearing about them. If I mention them every once in a while, it's very thought out, not specific, and not time-sensitive information. I will not be sharing details about my divorce. I will not be sharing details about my parenting arrangement. I will not be sharing details about the people in my life because it's not my business to share. And it's not your business to know. And that's it. But I do love this new path that I'm on. And if that sounds exciting to you, that you want to see where my travels take me and where this new journey takes me, please, I would love to have you along for the ride. That's why I share what I share. And I'm working on a way that we can be in community that feels safer to me. And I'm hoping to kind of finalize that in the coming months. I don't know when exactly, but stay tuned. But I do try to stay active in the comments here. I've had to kind of close off my Instagram DMs because there are just too many bombs hidden in there that are just too triggering and awful. And so I'm sorry, I'm trying to look through them every once in a while, but it's hard because I don't know what I'm gonna open when I open a DM. And some well-meaning people send me information that I don't necessarily want to see. Sometimes I need to see things and that's fine, but it's hard, right? And it's not something I wish on anybody. So my contents, you're really just gonna see me. I've mentioned this, I think maybe just on Instagram. I might not have mentioned it in this video, I can't remember now, but I did take my kids on a little adventure this summer that I filmed. Oh, I did mention it because I talked about how hard it is not to get their faces in it because it was really important to me. It was a milestone moment. With the pandemic and everything, I've been wanting to take them somewhere, just the three of us, for over a year. And I finally was able to because we were just so far away from school and camp or anything, or we were already away with family, and I just had a moment to take them somewhere, just the three of us, for the first time, which is something I've been dreaming of doing, and we had so much fun. And as hopefully the pandemic improves and things get better, I hope to take them on so many more adventures, just the three of us. But this was the first one, and it felt really important for me to share it, to document it for me, which I did personally as well, privately, but also to share it as part of my adventuring, because it was an adventure. Taking my kids, just the three of us, on a trip. For the first time, that's a big deal. And I've been sitting on that video for a few weeks now, and I can't decide. I really want to share it, but I can't decide, is it the right thing? Is it hypocritical of me? I know I'll be called a hypocrite for now sitting down and talking about all this, and then if I share it, be like, well, you said you were not going to show your kids. And I'm like, well, I did not say that. I said I would show them in very selective ways, very, very occasionally. And if I share this video, it'd be like a once in a blue moon kind of thing. So I might share it. If I do, I'm going to turn comments off altogether. And if it ends up backfiring, I'll just take it down. I don't know. This is where I am. Like, I really want to share that trip because it was so special to me, but I just not sure. But at least I feel like hopefully now you know where I stand and why I've made the changes I've made. And I look forward to seeing where this journey goes, where it leads me, and walking that path with you. I always share myself authentically and vulnerably in my videos, and I think I can still do that while not risking exposing my home and family life and like my personal life. But I can still be me and share me with you. And then for whatever reason, that's what I do. That's what I like to do. I don't know. It's weird to already be moving towards something, but then also kind of be forced into it at the same time, or it feels like that at least, right? It is all a choice, but I don't feel like there's much of a choice in what I've had to stop sharing in order for me to feel when he's dreaming, her whole body is moving. She must be chasing a squirrel. In order to feel good about it, because I'm not going to share something I don't feel like at least okay with, you know? I don't know. This ended up being a lot more emotional than I planned, and definitely longer than I planned. Of course, always, my videos are never short. If you stuck around and if you watched this with openness and acceptance in your heart, I thank you so much. Like I said, I really want to find a way where we can be in community that feels a positive place and a safe place where we can really interact. Because I miss that element. I miss that level of connection. It just hasn't felt available to me for the reasons I have outlined and more. I don't think I'm going anywhere. But again, I never saw myself taking 3 months off out of fear either. So I don't know. But I'm here now and I'm sharing with you in the way that feels right and brings me joy. And I will continue to honor that. And I hope that in return you can honor my choices here on my own channel, on my own platform, on my own social media accounts. And I completely understand if you're just not interested in this new trajectory. I get it. It's okay. Thank you for your support when you were here, and maybe you'll journey back to me someday, especially if things pivot again, which nothing is static, so who knows. But thank you for the support that you have given when you have given it, and if this is it, take good care. And if you're still in, awesome, and I look forward to sharing so much more with you. And if you see the video drop with the kids, just please be extra aware of your choices in regards to that video. And if you don't see it, I have many other adventures to share, and know that me and my kids, we had a wonderful first adventure, just the three of us, and it was just beautiful. And I look forward to so many more, most of which will not be filmed for public consumption. But know that I am doing those things with my kids when I can, when it's safe. And there are so many people on the internet who share a lot of family things, so there's no shortage of that kind of content. You're not gonna find it here. Not now. And not in any time that I can predict. Thank you for watching and for your love and kindness. And I'm sending you so much right back at you. And I'll see you real soon. Bye.